Hey guys, it's Shayla Hicks back with another video. If this is your first time watching, welcome. I do lifestyle videos in regards to my home, family, ministry, and as I said in a couple videos ago this year, I'm going to talk more about homeschooling, which is what the video is about on today. So today I want to just share with you how I came to start homeschooling and some of the resources I use for reading and math. I'll be doing videos about homeschooling throughout the year, so today I'm just going to focus on those two subjects. Okay, but starting off with how I started homeschooling. I've been a stay-at-home mom since my daughter was born. She will be 8 in April, and actually it started because I fell at work when I was working. I was pregnant, probably about 20 weeks pregnant, I believe, maybe a little shy of 20 weeks. But I fell at work, which was a blessing, because when I fell and went to get checked out, I found out that I had an incompetent cervix. And so from that, I had to be on bed rest for 5 months. And so I was on bed rest. And then once I had my daughter, just never went back to work. We talked about it, whether or not I would go back to work, in my mind I was like, well, maybe I can, but once she was born, I just could not part. My husband never wanted me to go back to work anyway, so we ended up where I became a stay-at-home mom. And from there, over the years, we were just having conversations about whether we would do public, private, or whether I would homeschool. And so from birth, I was always teaching my kids things anyway, just basic things that they need to know, just talking to them, number one. Honestly, I didn't read to them a lot. I know you hear about that. I definitely see where that is beneficial, but to be truthful, I didn't just read to them every night before bed. Probably would have helped our bedtime routine if I did, but honestly, I did. So the truth of it is, I just kind of did little things that I thought were important, just to introduce them to language. Like, one of the main things I did with all three was just like a morning phrase routine, or routine phrases, just like good morning, how are you, how did you sleep, and then just teaching them to say back to me, respond back to me, good morning, I slept well, or I had a good sleep. That was just like the first thing I can remember that I taught all of them. Of course, like singing nursery rhymes. I like to sing around the house. I can't sing, but that's just something I've always done, like being a teenager, with my family, making up songs to just, make my family laugh or whatever. That's just something I do. I think my mom did that, and even my great-grandfather, I can remember him singing us songs when we were little. So that's just something I picked up from family. But yeah, I always, and even my paternal great-grandmother, I can remember her singing like opera style, when she would be cooking and stuff like that. So I think I just got that from family, but I just like to make up little songs. So I always did like make up little learning songs. Of course, the nursery rhymes, all those. We have like some top 3 songs that all 3 babies kind of grew up singing. So from that, just everyday thing. And I God always confirms that you're doing well, because, as moms, we don't always know what we're doing. Like they say, it doesn't always come with a manual. So we're just, going from our maternal instinct. And from that, I just realized that, God would confirm his word. I remember my mom and I were at the Apple store, and I used to babysit a young boy. He was, I think, in 3rd grade, something like that, 2nd or 3rd grade, and he was in the Apple store, and they had like the model iPad, and he was playing on it. And so one of the other customers in the store, she made a comment about him playing on the iPad, and she ended up saying that she was a kindergarten teacher. My mom, being my mom, not knowing a stranger, started to talk to her and ask her, well, what were some tips. She was telling her that I had, at that time, I think Chloe and Chase were born. They were both toddlers. and she was telling her that, you know, I work with them at home. What were some things that I can do? And she said something that just kind of I would never forget and kind of confirm what I knew, but helped me to kind of have a foundation in how I started off to teach my kids. And she was saying just, you know, teaching them everyday life skills and talking to them. And so that confirmed what I was doing. So that has always been my motto, is to just teach them what they need to know at the time that they need to know it, just based on age, based on what they're ready for. I am a big proponent of letting kids learn as they are curious. And what I mean by that is that I don't try to push my kids to know things by a certain milestone age, like, you know, to be ahead. I don't try to make them be on task with what other kids their age should learn. I just want to make sure whatever they're learning, they really learn it, and that they're not just picking it up. Like, they actually, if I ask them a year later, they know it because we've taken the time to build a skill and for them to learn. And so in that, a lot of times I just go based on instinct, based on that they can come back to me and regurgitate something they learned without me having to prime them to say it. And so I believe in just taking my time, letting my kids go on their own pace, and not even with each other. I don't try to compare what they do at a certain age to what another one of them would do. Like, for instance, Chloe, she started really early learning. I think number one, that's just Chloe. That's just, you know, her maturity level. Number two, she was the only child, so I had a lot of time to devote just to teaching her. I think it may even have something to do with her being a girl and what they say about girls maturing faster than boys. I believe that. It's just my opinion. Is you know, they have some studies, I believe, about it, but don't you know, be offended or think that that's your truth. That's just kind of what I believe, just based on my experience. And two, which is, I believe, a benefit of homeschooling, is that we can go at our own pace. It was something else I was going to say, but it slipped my mind. It'll come back to me. But yeah, I don't try to push them into anything I don't feel like they're ready. So Chloe, she started really, really young, maybe like 2, maybe older, younger than that, just like really having a lot of language, being able to pick up on things and learn really fast. By, I want to say 3.5, definitely by 4, she was reading, like probably reading on a first grade level. But that's just Chloe. She, from the time she was born, she just loved to learn. She, she loved learning videos. I think both of my kids that are school age are both Audible and I forgot the other term for it, but like video. They like video, audio. That's how they learn. And so from a very young age, she would watch a lot of learning videos. And I know a lot of people are against screen time. I'm not really against screen time. I just utilize screen time for productivity, like learning videos, ministry videos that they can watch and learn. They have regular, they watch regular cartoons, but even, I guess because I've just said it for so long, a lot of times Chloe, she'll justify, because Chloe is a big justifier. Like, if it's something Chloe wants to do, she's gonna find the positive aspect to get her wish where she can do what she want to do. So Chloe, a lot of the things she watches are things that teach her things. Like, some of her favorite shows are Martha Speaks. They teach a lot of vocabulary on that show. So even Chase has picked up a lot of words. The other day he was talking about something was unviable, and I'm like, where did you get that word from? Ada Twist is big with my daughter. She's a STEM girl, so she, especially science, so she likes that. So a lot of times, what I've said all that to say is that screen time for me is not a bad thing. Now, I am cutting back on how much they watch, and I go back and forth, like, you can't watch it this week. Initially, the rule was, when we first started homeschool, that during the week that they wouldn't watch TV at all. Even like screen time on the computer would be limited to school. But to be perfectly honest, since I had to go through cancer. A lot of things have just been really, really lax. We have really not been on our regular routine and schedule. So I've been finding myself trying to get back to that. But said all that to say is that we do use audible and video learning a lot. Even with audio, a lot of times if it's something that I want to learn, I'll put it on the Google speaker. And so if I don't want them watching the screen, I'll do the Google speaker and play it from my computer. So in that, you know, we just began homeschooling from a young age, even before they were pre-K age. So they never went to daycare because, you know, I was at home. And so I just started teaching them little things. And I'll show you some clips of Chloe. I think she was about maybe 2. She had to be 2, at least 2. Because my son was born. So I'll show you some video of her just doing colors and shapes. So here's that video. All right, let's show Daddy what we know. Okay, let's show Daddy the card. Now what's this? What's that?
Yeah.
Star. Okay. What's that? What color is that? Orange. Uh-oh. Alright. What color is that?
Brown.
Brown. Okay. What color is that?
Red.
Red. What color is that?
Yellow.
Yellow. Okay. What shape is that? Heart.
Brown.
Okay. This is a hard one. Okay. What color is this?
Yellow.
No, not yellow. What color is this? Green. We got to work on green. Okay, let's see. What else? What you do? Oh, we got your favorite color. What color is this? What color? Huh?
Purple.
Purple. Yeah. You remember this shape? What shape is it?
Pink.
No, what is it? You don't know?
Harcourt.
It's a square. We have to work on square. Okay, so you can see from there, she was pretty young. Excuse the video because the quality, it was old video before we had all this new technology, or at least before I had it. And so those were the types of things that, you know, I would teach her. She loved to watch music, learning videos, and those types of things. So from there, by the time Chloe became school age, which would have been kindergarten, the pandemic happened. And so from there, we decided to do virtual learning. We did the virtual option, and it was, you know, okay. I think just because they were all trying to figure out exactly, you know, how to function with students in the class in the virtual option, it was a lot of trial and error for the teachers. And so from there, I felt like, okay, well, we'll go through the year because it's virtual. We didn't want her going to school during the pandemic, and so we just decided to let her do the virtual option. She did that for her kindergarten year. And so after that, I started to think like, well, really a lot of the things that they were doing there in the virtual option, I was like, that's pretty much what we do at home. And the thing about it is she was ahead. Even once she went to school doing the virtual option, she was ahead in a lot of areas. Now, there were some things that I kind of learned that I needed to kind of teach her based on just even observing what they were doing in the class. There were some things that maybe I needed to add to what I was teaching her at home. So it was definitely beneficial to do the virtual option to see kind of the structure of the public schools and what they were doing. Also, it gave me some idea about the curriculum that was being used, and I decided to kind of flow along with some of that curriculum because we have not completely decided if I'm going to homeschool them all the way, you know, through elementary school, high school, and, you know, so junior high and high school. So my thinking is I'm going to kind of do a dual kind of program in the sense of I'll do some things from school just so they can kind of understand a little bit about the structure of school in case we decide to send them, but also have the freedom to do some things that are what they call unschool in the manner of how we go about our day and different elements of how we teach the curriculum. So in that, like I said, once Chloe did the virtual option, we just decided we're just going to go ahead and homeschool all of them until it's no longer an option. And so that's what we've been doing. I think honestly it's better for my son because honestly, you know, like I was saying earlier, they all kind of learn and develop at their own pace, and my son wasn't as interested in learning as Chloe was. And I would try to sit him down and do the same things I did with Chloe, and it just didn't work. He wasn't interested, his attention wasn't there. So I just kind of backed off and just gave him time to get to the place, you know, where he wanted to learn. And honestly, it wasn't really around till he was around like the pre-K age, and even then it was a little like, okay, now you're at this age, you have to start doing something. And it was a little forceful at first, but just, you know, trying to do it in a fun way and introducing it in a way where he can kind of glean from Chloe, like instead of just directly teaching him, just including him in Chloe's lessons, just to kind of spark. To be honest, I think it sparked a little bit, especially as he's been getting older, a little bit of competition, healthy competition, where he wanted to learn as much as her. So that worked. And so that's what I've been doing, just reading where they are individually and going with that. And so just like my son Chandler, he likes what he likes. Chandler likes to watch his little Lion King cartoons. He likes to walk around the house singing, and so even I'll try to introduce him to like some learning singing videos, but right now he's just not as interested. And so I'll teach him life skills, you know, things that he can kind of learn, like for instance just basic stuff like we keep their dishes low so they can get them. So teaching him how to get stuff is probably more on the lines of like a Montessori vibe, where I teach him how to do certain things for himself, and just go from there. And when he gets to the place where he wants to sit and learn, we'll start on little things. I have started working with him on like colors, and but it has to be like very limited, like maybe a minute, 2 tops. If I get 2 minutes, I'm doing good. So that's just what we do. This is not to tell you to follow our model. This is just explaining what I do in case you do want to adopt some of the things. Okay, so now I want to get into a little bit some of the curriculum that I use. And so one of my biggest things that has helped me is making friends with teachers. Number one, my mom worked in the public schools as an assistant teacher for years, so I've always had her as a resource. One of my teachers from church growing up in children's church is a teacher, a very good veteran teacher. She's retired since, but she still now works in the school system. So people like that, just my mom being in the schools, knowing what curriculum they were using, so all that was a great wealth. So if you know a teacher, be nice to them and learn all you can from them if you're a homeschooler, unless you're going towards the complete unschool approach, then this won't be beneficial to you, because that's not what we're doing. We're trying to mix and match, what I call, for lack of a better word. We're just trying to do it in a way, like I said, in case we decide to utilize the school system, our kids won't be so far off. And so in that, for reading this year, now this is not what I've used the entire time my kids have been in school. Honestly, the first couple of years I just was kind of finding my own curriculum online. And what did I use the first year? Now I can't even think of the name of it, but it was a curriculum that I think they used previously in the school system. The name just changed, and if I can think of it, I can put it on the screen. But this year I used some recommendations from, like I said, my old children's church teacher, because she's still currently working in the school system. So I used some recommendations from her. She sent me something that she thought would be good, knowing that, you know, my daughter's a little bit advanced. So for my daughter, she's in 2nd grade this year, we are using the harcourt trophies. And so I went online to a used bookstore online, and I'll put that in the description box, the link to the bookstore online, and that's where I've been getting most, and I can't even think of the name of it now. I should have had it for this video, but I'll make sure I put it in the description box. But I've been ordering teachers manuals. She gave me an extra, like, or did I order this? No, actually she gave me one. It was a 4th grade book, but I felt like I wanted to go back to the 2nd grade. My daughter probably could have done the 4th grade, but I just decided I wanted to go back just to make sure she's getting the skills. It was a little bit advanced. She could have, you know, picked it up, but I just said, well, let's just go back to make sure we don't forget. I mean, to make sure we don't miss any skills that she needs to learn. So this is the actual 2nd grade book. It's the harcourt trophies. And so I ordered the student book and the teacher's edition, because of course the teacher's edition will give you what I call, like, I make my lesson plans from the teacher's edition. It gives you all of the breakdown of the whole chapter. It gives you tips. It gives you even extra stuff to do. Now the only thing I hate is and this is probably aging this curriculum, because it has like transparencies that are supposed to go to it, and it shows you like the other resources you can order. And this is, I was trying to think, this is from 2003. So honestly, this is probably you know, this is old curriculum, but I trust, just like I said, I trust her as a teacher, and I think what she was basing it on is the skills that are in here. And I honestly really like how they break down the curriculum. It's called Banner Days Theme 1, and this whole curriculum is based on imagination. It's called Imagine That, and it teaches all the different skills you would learn. Like, let's go through it so I can kind of tell you like the basic skills in each one. And then I like it too because it includes science. It includes like spelling. So instead of having to find a whole nother curriculum from spelling, I can use the same book. A lot of good things in this book. I actually like it. So this is what I'm using for Chloe for curriculum. Now for Chase, I am using iReady. Let me find it. I'm using iReady, which is currently what the school is using. And this is what Chloe used for kindergarten when she did the virtual. She used iReady, and I liked it okay, but I felt like for Chloe, she needed something a little bit more advanced. And so that's why I like the harcourt a little bit better for her, because iReady I think is appropriate for Chase, because I mean, to me it's really advanced. Chase is in kindergarten. It's advanced to me from the kindergarten that I know from when we were in school, but I realize now that's just, it's no need of complaining about they're doing too much and why won't they let kids, you know, it's just no need. This is what they're learning now. And so the iReady reading, I have the teacher resource book. I have, which I didn't bring it in here, I'm sorry, but it looks like this, this is the math, I'll talk about that, but they also have a workbook for the students, which honestly, for reading, I don't use it a lot. Chloe did it too, and I think I had Chloe's left. But I don't really like the workbook because the math is okay. I can use the math, but to me, the reading, all they really do is kind of like draw pictures and stuff in regards to the story. So I don't find that beneficial. A lot of the practice work that I use to go along with the curriculum is from Teachers Pay Teachers, and then also IXL, and I'll talk about that in a minute when I talk about extra resources. So this is the iReady K Kindergarten Teacher Resource Book, and so I use this to pretty much teach. So I really like the iReady. Now what I do miss is that when Chloe was doing the virtual, they had like an actual iReady program, computer program, where they could go on and do the skills, and then it would actually test them at the end of the unit. And so I really missed it. I really wish they had the option for parents to purchase the iReady, or even to be able to have access through the public schools. I honestly feel like that we should have that access, because we're taxpayers, and I don't live in a state where the money follows my child, but I feel like we really, and that's something that I have tried in the past to kind of inquire about, and just kind of hit brick walls, because to be perfectly honest, in Mississippi, they kind of, what I call, leave homeschoolers alone. There are not a lot of requirements, but at the same time, there's not a lot of work with either. So that's something I'm going to continue to try to inquire and pursue. It's being able to, utilize some of the programs that they use in the public school systems, because honestly, it's just a matter of them assigning a username and password and a code. And like I said, we pay tax dollars as well, and so I don't feel like that's asking for too much. So if you all have any tips, if maybe they do that in your state, put it in the comments, or maybe I missed something. If you're in Mississippi and it's something that I missed and don't know about, that's the whole purpose of having this community, to help each other. So if it's something I don't know, because I've only been doing homeschooling like 2 years, so I'm still learning, so I'm not an expert, and I'm open to your suggestions. All right, y'all, so now I want to talk about just and I think I actually kind of talked about this as I was recording some of the added video from our actual homeschool day. So I'll pop that in, where I kind of talk about what I do for the actual lesson plan. So I'll pop that in. Okay, so another tool that I use is this planner, monthly planner, and I just use it to September, let's go to like now. I use it to write the lesson plan for the week in there. I don't do it necessarily plan a week ahead. I want to start doing that, but right now, sometimes I do it the day before, sometimes the day of. I'll go in and write what we're doing. This just makes it easier for me to just have something, and it's a record. So like by the time that Chandler gets in these grades, and then Chase will follow Chloe's lesson plans, unless I decide to do something new, based on whether, curriculum has been updated, or I use something different, but I can still kind of use the same thing. And that kind of helps you from having to buy a lot of curriculum. You can use the same thing, because most of the time the skills stay the same for each grade, and so you can add to, but you can still use what you have. And because let's be real, this curriculum is expensive, so that's why I make friends with teachers to get things that they use. But some curriculum I buy myself, and so I won't have to buy it, every year. I can just use the same curriculum, but then also I'll already have lesson plans made out, and that'll keep me from overworking myself. This just makes it easier for me to just have something, and it's a record. So like by the time that Chandler gets in these grades, and then Chase will follow Chloe's lesson plans, unless I decide to do something new, based on whether, curriculum has been updated, or I use something different, but I can still kind of use the same thing. And that kind of helps you from having to buy a lot of curriculum. You can use the same thing, because most of the time the skills stay the same for each grade, and so you can add to, but you can still use what you have. And because let's be real, this curriculum is expensive, so that's why I make friends with teachers to get things that they use. But some curriculum I buy myself, and so I won't have to buy it every year. I can just use the same curriculum, but then also I'll already have lesson plans made out, and that'll keep me from overworking myself. Okay, so for Chloe, for math, I use the iReady, same program as Chase's reading in math. I use the iReady math because she has a cousin that's in the same grade with her, and so I can kind of follow along in some ways and kind of see what they're doing. And so I looked at it before. I was using a different book, which I liked, and it had like a computer aspect where she can go online and do worksheets and things, and also test on the computer. So I did like that. It was something that I purchased, but I wanted her to kind of be with the public school here, so this year I changed to iReady Math, and I like it. It's pretty simple, self-explanatory, still on a level that I can teach her math. Now I do believe that as she matriculates and gets older and the math gets harder, I'll have to kind of turn her over to her dad, or we'll either have to hire a math teacher, because I'm just not that skilled in the higher math. I don't like math. I've really have gone further than I thought, because based on, you know, hearing from other parents talking about homework and trying to figure it out, I didn't even think I can go this far. But this iReady, it does a good job of giving examples, and so did the previous curriculum that I use. It gives a good job of just kind of breaking down the examples where you can explain it and grasp it yourself. And then before, just hearing people talk about Common Core math and just everything based on the 10, I was thinking that's ridiculous, it's the long way. But I actually like it because I think it develops more of a critical mathematical mind, where they can solve things critically without even having to have pen and paper. A lot of times I try to get Chloe to do it in her mind, and that using that 10 base 10 equation system, for lack of a better word, it works, and I like it. It's kind of helped me as well in how I reframe math. And so that's what I use. And even that you do not have to be a math, science, social studies, you know, expert. All you got to do is have the mindset that you want your kids to learn, and create an environment for them to learn in. Because, you know, I'm not skilled in every subject. I don't like science, I don't like math, but the level that my kids are on now, if I do a little research, I'm able to teach them. Excuse them in the background, they're with an adult, so don't worry. But I said that to say, if you are a parent that has been out of school or didn't like school when you were in it, if you're a grandparent that's trying to help raise your grandkids or raising your grandkids and you feel like overwhelmed, what I would say is, number one, find you some help if you can hire a tutor. Number two, if you can't, find some resources. Really, your kids are skilled enough, probably with technology, to be able to find things to help them learn themselves. They have YouTube videos for everything. So if it's some type of math equation you don't understand, look it up on YouTube, Google it until you can figure it out. A lot of times, if the kids watch the videos that's age-based, it will teach them what, you know, there is something out there for you as a parent, as a guardian, to utilize if you feel like I cannot do this. Now, this might be to add along with if your kids are in public schools and you have trouble with homework. I'm just trying to encourage you that there is help out there. You do not have to be a genius, you know. I'm not a genius, but my kids are, I mean, I can honestly say they learn and they are smart. They are somewhat advanced, because I just made a decision that if I don't know it, I'm gonna figure it out along the way, or I'm gonna find somebody else who does know it. And so I said that to say, you do not have to be on a certain level to make sure that your kids get what they need. Just create an environment that they can learn in, and incorporate other tools, resources, and people that can do it. Okay, and then I just also, this might have to be a two-part video because it is so long. Okay, but I just buy little resources like this from like Walmart, anywhere, Target. You can find like Amazon. You can find like little extra books that you can practice skill. If you have an Ollie's in your area, that's an amazing store to buy teacher resources. I love Ollie's. If I can, I don't know if you can link Ollie's. I don't know if you can shop online for them. We have a local store, but I will link it if I can. And then, just because this video is getting so long, like I said, I'll be doing more homeschool videos throughout the year. But one last resource that is absolutely free that you can use is the public library. The public library, my kids and I, before I just started, before I was diagnosed with cancer, we would go at least once a week a lot of times, especially like in the spring and the summer, because my kids love the library. I grew up loving the library. I love to read, and so that's one thing I introduced to them early. Even when Chloe was really young, we would go to the library. We would go to story time at the library. I think I may even have some pictures of her going to story time and making crafts. Now, as I started to get more kids, it's kind of tough to kind of get all of them, especially with Chandler being a toddler and being so busy. Probably as they get older, we'll start back going to story time, and then the pandemic happened, so they kind of, knocked things off. But the library is a great source. This month we're checking out some Black history books. We do that throughout the year too, though. But the library is a great source, and I'll pop in a clip of Chase. I'm just reading, actually, one of the books he checked out from the library, and so just to show you, he's kindergarten, and just to kind of show you his skill level, he's 5. It'll show you where we are with him in reading. And one thing I realized too is that you can have like little indicators of where your kids are and where you can kind of take them in learning, okay, when it's time to go to something else. And one key indicator that I recognize for my kids to let me know it was time to kind of focus on them learning how to read is once they start learning words and they started memorizing books really fast. Like, he probably has only read this book like 1 or 2 times, but what he's developed, and Chloe was the same way, is kind of a what do they call it, like a photographic memory in a sense. When it comes to reading, he would start to memorize like books like this. And so you'll see, and when he read this today, I was like, did he memorize it or did he actually know the words? And so you'll see I'll go back and ask him certain words, isolate the words and ask him, because he had started to memorize books. I had to make sure that he actually knew the words, or keep going over it until he knew the words in an isolated manner, as opposed to just memorizing the phrases in the book. So you'll see that in the video.
It's time for Piggy Cow. Let's all go to.
Wait. Go back. What did it say? Okay.
It's bedtime for Piggy Cow. Let's all go to. Sleep. We can't sleep. We're thirsty. All done.
What's that? All done.
All done. The sicky sheep.
No, squeak.
All done. The sicky squeak. Don't forget to wash your beak.
No.
Wipe your beak. Potty.
Okay.
All done. This.
The last.
The last sicky.
No. What's that?
The
last chick sings.
Okay. Don't forget to wash your wings.
Okay.
It's bedtime for sleep. It's bedtime for Piggy Cow. Let's all go to sleep.
Okay. All
What
right.
did I do?
Great. Okay. What's that word? What's that word? What's that?
It's bedtime.
No, just this word. What's this word?
Time.
And what's that?
Bed.
So what is it together?
For
No, not that. What's this word together? Bed.
time.
Okay. What's that word?
So they're getting ready for bedtime.
Yes, they are. What's that word?
For
What's that word?
44.
Sound it up.
Sheep.
What is it?
Sheep.
Sheep. Good. Okay.
For
What's this
sheep.
word?
They're getting ready to take a nap for sheep.
Mm-hmm. What's this?
Go to it.
No, but what's this
to.
word?
Go to.
Good.
To
Okay.
go.
All right. Let's see. Wait. Let's see. Do you know what this word is? Chloe, quiet. What's this word?
Wake.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's probably 2 hours long. If it's too long, I'll probably have to split it up into 2 parts, but Stay tuned if you enjoyed this video or if you gained any insight from homeschooling from this video. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any other uploads I have in regards to homeschooling. And so, like I've been doing in all of my videos, I want to pray at the end of today. I want to pray for those that are struggling with their children when it comes to education, or those who are trying to decide whether or not to place their children in public, private, or homeschool. And so let's pray. Father God, in the name of Jesus, I just thank you for this opportunity to share what I've learned. God, not from a place of being an expert, but from a place of grace, to let people know that if I can do it and they have the desire that they can do it, to share what I've learned that may be an asset to them in their starting of homeschooling. God, I just thank you that in whatever manner those that are watching have decided to educate their children, I thank you, God, that your grace will be upon them. God, that their children will be safe, whether it be public, private, or homeschooling. I thank you, God, that there is a place for each of those that you have equipped, just amazing educators, administrators, and teachers in both the private and the public sector. And that, God, that you would just continue to increase us even in our desire to make sure that our children are educated in a safe and beneficial manner. I thank you for those that have are in a decision-making process of deciding whether to homeschool their kids, that God, that you would be with them, that you would grant them the answer that's going to be beneficial to their family and their lifestyle. I thank you even for those who have decided to homeschool and just didn't know where to start, that hopefully some of the things I talked about would be an answer. And for what they haven't received the answer, God, that you would grant them the grace and even, God, the mentors around them, God, to teach them what they need to know. God, give them the confidence to understand and know that, God, if you gave us our children to steward, that you have given us also the grace, amen, to be able to do it. And so I just thank you for your bountiful blessings, your abundance in the area of educating our children. God, we receive that now, God, that we don't look at what we're capable of, we don't look at what we have, but we look to you for the grace to be able to walk out whatever we're doing. And so we give you praise, we give you glory, we give you honor for this and all these things. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Y'all be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.